over the course of this conflict, the number of videos that we have seen coming from soldiers in Gaza, there's videos of them, tossing plates out windows from family homes, holding up lingerie that they've raided from bedrooms. There's even a video now of soldiers setting fire to books in a library. But over the weekend, it was topped by a soldier wearing a mask. He's a reservist, and he essentially calls for a mutiny in this government. It was incredible. In Hebrew translated, Yoav Galant, you can't win the war. Quit. You can't win this war. You can't command us. This reservist who the IDF this morning, I believe, has said that they have identified. He goes on further to say, quote, false. This is sorry, this I had the wrong quote here, but he is essentially calling for a mutiny within this government, saying that you have 100,000 soldiers. They're ready to go, quote, give their lives for the people of Israel, ready to die. We lost everything. We lost our family life. We lost our livelihoods, and we have nowhere to go. We will stay here until the end, until victory. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, this video is for you. We reservist soldiers do not intend to hand the keys over to any Palestinian authority. We do not intend to give the keys to Gaza to any entity, Hamas, Fatah, or any other Arab entity.
The Israeli military is denying some of its soldiers were captured by Hamas fighters during confrontation in northern Gaza. Israel is also continuing to ignore an order from the UN's highest court to halt its assault on the city of Rafah. Let's catch up now with our reporter Zach Anders, who's in Tel Aviv. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Chloe.
Lots of different strands to speak about this morning. Let's begin by talking about claims from Hamas that they've captured these soldiers, something the IDF is denying.
Yeah, in the Jabalia area in particular, where we've seen dozens of IDF casualties over the month of May here, where they've started this twin campaign going into Rafah and once again into Jabalia in Gaza's north. They were pretty quick this morning to deny the claims. Hamas made this statement late last night, but it's interesting. We'll certainly keep close attention to it.
Let's also talk about the fact that you've been to Hostage Square. It's something we've spoken to you a lot about over the last few months. I know you've been numerous times. Just remind people who gathers there, why they're there, what they're saying.
Well, again, thousands in the streets of Tel Aviv last night. Police protesters late after the rally had to disperse those that remained and tried to shut down the roads once again. And the pitch, the tenor of some of the comments and what you're hearing in Hebrew, albeit in these rallies, has really increased quite a bit. We saw one of the fathers of one of the hostages call for Netanyahu to resign last night. He said that Netanyahu himself was the one that was sabotaging these hostage deals for his own political gain. I spoke to several of two men, actually. One of them, Michael Levy, whose brother is one of the hostages. His wife, Or Levy, his wife was killed at the Nova Music Festival. They have a 3-year-old son now that Michael Levy, the brother, has been raising. It's been very difficult to talk to him. So I spoke to two hostages, and I believe we have some of the audio.
I want to stress the fact that I don't hate Palestinians. I don't think anyone here hate Palestinians. But Hamas are not the same. They are here in this world to cause pain.
I think that everyone that feel even that the war need to stop, need to understand the only thing that will stop the war is the releasing the hostages. So even people that think that what Israel is doing in Gaza is wrong and all the war that's happening there, they need to understand this is happening in order to release the hostages people. 232 days, 7.5 months. It's a number that no one can imagine. And the only thing that will stop the war is the release of the hostages.
Zach, is there still a real sense of frustration amongst some people in Israel about the way that this whole operation in Gaza is being pursued by Netanyahu?
Absolutely. And over the weekend, one of the more remarkable moments I think we've seen over the course of this conflict, there's a video posted from within Gaza. And if you zoom out for a moment, over the course of this conflict, The number of videos that we have seen coming from soldiers in Gaza, there's videos of them, tossing plates out windows from family homes, holding up lingerie that they've raided from bedrooms. There's even a video now of soldiers setting fire to books in a library. But over the weekend, it was topped by a soldier wearing a mask. He's a reservist, and he essentially calls for a mutiny in this government. It was incredible. In Hebrew translated, Yoav Galant, you can't win the war. Quit. You can't win this war. You can't command us. This reservist who the IDF this morning, I believe, has said that they have identified. He goes on further to say, quote, false. This is sorry, this I had the wrong quote here, but he is essentially calling for a mutiny within this government, saying that you have 100,000 soldiers. They're ready to go, quote, give their lives for the people of Israel, ready to die. We lost everything. We lost our family life. We lost our livelihoods, and we have nowhere to go. We will stay here until the end, until victory. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, this video is for you. We reservist soldiers do not intend to hand the keys over to any Palestinian authority. We do not intend to give the keys to Gaza to any entity, Hamas, Fatah, or any other Arab entity. And then this soldier, of course, masked. He's hiding his identity. He's giving this video from inside Gaza, consuming the headlines here. And remarkably, this morning, as I'm reading, Netanyahu's son, who has been hiding out in Miami, not been in Israel over the course of this war, reposted this video. Just remarkable stuff.
And what's the reaction been to it? I mean, you're saying that it's across all of the media in Israel. How are people responding to that?
Well, we last night, this was something that I spoke to a couple of people at Hostage Square about. There's concern among some of the more moderate voices that this is going to become a dominant trend, that the fractures that we're already seeing within the war cabinet. You'll remember, if you go back a week, it was Yoav Galant, part of the war cabinet, who was saying specifically that Israel cannot be the body that governs Gaza going forward, that there needs to be a post-war plan, that Netanyahu needs to put this out. And then the opposition leader, Benny Gantz, who's again leading in the polls over Netanyahu, also said that there needs to be a 6-point plan, and we need to decide now before we continue this push through Rafah that we have some sort of plan for what's going to happen next. And that night, within an hour, Benny Gantz issuing that 6-point plan, Netanyahu completely undercut it, said, do you want Hamas to rule? Do you want this to remain an extremist hotbed? And there was essentially Netanyahu calling Benny Gantz bluff, saying, okay, leave the war cabinet and see what that does to you. So when you talk to people last night about this, the video's now about a day old. People are very concerned that this is a dominant theme inside the minds of a lot of reservists, maybe not so much active duty who have been serving, but certainly that people know this is the feeling of a lot of soldiers that are fighting right now. And then again, you collect all of these videos that we've seen of these soldiers inside the Gaza Strip over the course of this war, and the IDF has been echoing, we are the most moral army in the world. We conduct ourselves better than any other army in the Western world. And you have to question, you have to wonder, why do these incidents keep happening? Why do we see these comments? Why do we see them acting with, they're not even supposed to have their phones filming in an active combat zone, yet they have the time to destroy Palestinians' homes. And how can you make those claims? How can leadership say that we have a tight grip on our horses here when the soldiers are acting out in such a manner? And I think that's going to be what we see going forward, is a lot of people calling for there to be some sort of reform or some greater control over what is happening with these soldiers, because right now it seems like everybody's been let loose.
Mm. Zach, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. As ever, it's always good to get an update. That is Zach Anders, who's in Tel Aviv, and it's been quite, incredible. This video and this investigation, which has been launched after it, posted on social media, and I guess it just shows the stresses and strains, doesn't it? Of you send young people in to Gaza to fight, and people respond in different ways.
And
don't
in
they?
the age of social media as well, there are so few conflicts where we've seen this kind of thing. It's really interesting, actually. I interviewed one of the people who was in one of those clips, actually, Michael Levy. He was in London this week. His brother was abducted from the Supernova Music Festival. Incredibly brave person. And it just shows, I think, what Zach is saying there, really, how much disagreement there is about the way forward in Israel as well. And I suppose that's the case in South Africa as well. We'll be talking about that after the break, because they are a conflict-ridden society, which the Rainbow Nation for the last 30 years, but lots to discuss in terms of their election this week. We are, of course, the election station here at Times Radio, and we'll be talking about that in just a second.